If you've watched this channel before, you probably remember when I compared these two Ryobi tire inflators to see which one was actually worth buying. They both did a decent job, but I recently picked up something that wasn't even intended to replace them. A Wolfbox 3000 amp jump starter with a built-in air compressor or tire inflator. I figured the inflator would just be a nice bonus feature for the jump starter, but after using it a few times, I started to notice something surprising. This jump starter might just be inflating tires faster and more accurately than both Ryobi inflators. That got me wondering, can a jump starter with a built-in compressor actually outperform dedicated cordless tire inflators? So today I'm putting all three head to head. I'll compare inflation speed, pressure accuracy, ease of use, features, and overall value to see which one deserves a spot in your garage or your vehicle. If you're thinking about buying a tire inflator or carrying a roadside emergency tool in your trunk, this comparison might help you save some money and choose the better tool. Let's get started. I'll test these on a car and truck tire going from 30 to 35 psi, timing for inflation speed, and checking accuracy after filling to the set point with a gauge. This is the Wolfbox 3000 amp or MegaVolt16 jump starter with air compressor or tire inflator. I tend to drive older vehicles, and a tool like this is great to have in every vehicle or just one to take on road trips, mainly for emergency situations to avoid getting stuck on the road with a battery or alternator going bad or a flat tire. This tool is more expensive than the Ryobis, but it jump starts a car too and has a flashlight and USB charging. Wolfbox does make inflators only with similar inflation specs for a price around what you can buy a Ryobi and battery for. Here are the two Ryobi models, one older trigger model and a new digital one with an auto shutoff pressure set point. The newer model also has a high volume inflator for mattresses or water sports tubes. These can be very affordable if you already own Ryobi batteries and chargers, but the tire inflation speed and accuracy has some room for improvement. Ryobi also has a new compact high pressure inflator only. I suspect they use the same hardware as the model tested, so performance will be the same, probably. Let's get right into the speed test for a truck tire, going from 30 to 35 psi for the Ryobis. The older Ryobi trigger model requires you to let off the trigger to check the actual pressure since it reads about 2 psi high while inflating. Doing that practically, it inflates the tire to 35 psi in 1 minute and 22 seconds. The newer inflator set to 35 psi shuts off at 35 seconds, but it was only inflated to 32.5 psi, so I had to increase the pressure set point and continue the time counter. It filled in 1 minute and 28 seconds. Similar time to the trigger model, and you can already start to see Ryobi's accuracy issues. Now for the Wolfbox. Yeah, it goes quicker, completing it in 1 minute and 4 seconds, beating both Ryobis, and the pressure is right on the 35 psi, checking it with a gauge. On a smaller car tire, the Ryobis fill it in very similar times, 55 and 56 seconds. The Wolfbox does it in 39 seconds, noticeably faster again. As for accuracy, you saw the issues with the Ryobis. You have to be 2 psi higher than the desired pressure set point to get good accuracy. Even then, from my experience, you could be off a psi in either direction, so plus or minus 1 psi. For the Wolfbox accuracy, there is no messing around with an offset. In various tests, it has always been right on or less than half a psi low. So plus 0 to minus 0.5 psi, very accurate. Clearly there is some additional engineering built into this tool delivering high accuracy compared to the Ryobis. With the Ryobis, I feel the need to double check with my gauge, but with the Wolfbox, the gauge can stay in my toolbox. As for noise, all tools are equally loud by my ear. All are annoying to use inside my garage without ear protection. The Wolfbox does have a different, more consistent tone. Probably the dual piston setup, which is helping its inflation time. For the hose length, the Wolfbox is slightly shorter than both Ryobis. With the new Ryobi being the longest, the Wolfbox is able to reach my truck tire comfortably from the ground with the valve stem on top. The Wolfbox hose does install separately for storage. It does rotate to get the desired clocking for use as well. The Wolfbox hose does stay cooler than the Ryobis. The Ryobi hoses get very hot. Too hot to touch. After going around a whole vehicle with the Wolfbox, it's just warm to the touch and I can still wrap my hand around the hose. For the nozzles, the new Ryobi quick connector is nice. It latches onto the valve stem quickly. Both the trigger style Ryobi and the Wolfbox have the lever style, which works but usually takes another hand to get locked on properly. The Wolfbox has more metal in the lever and works smoother than the Ryobi's lever. All of the controls and display are clear and straightforward for both tools. Obviously, the Wolfbox will have some extra buttons that are unnecessary for the jump starter, and the new Ryobi switches between high pressure and high volume inflation. The auto shutoff is a great feature on the Wolfbox and the newer Ryobis. That feature is why I bought it over the old trigger model. No need to stand there awkwardly holding the button without enough hose to fully stand up comfortably. Battery life may vary depending on the state of charge, but I have never had any issues, topping off or adjusting tire pressures on tire rotations. All tools, even with the smaller Ryobi batteries, should have plenty of power to get the job done. Obviously, if you're trying to fill 20 completely empty tires up, that might not happen, but it's a very extreme situation. So what one should you buy? Avoid the Ryobi trigger model. The auto shutoff is a must. If you don't already have Ryobi batteries and chargers, I wouldn't recommend them. The Wolfbox performs better. If you just want the air compressor, that tool will likely be cheaper and perform the same as the Wolfbox combo tool tested. These Wolfbox jump starters with air compressor are a great choice. I find them only slightly more expensive than the jump starter by itself. It makes a great emergency kit to keep in your vehicle, but you can also use it as your tire inflator tool. It also has an emergency flashlight. In a power outage, I have grabbed it out of our car to charge up devices. It really has a lot of additional functions and purposes, but also outperforms my cordless tire inflators on inflation speed and accuracy. If you own Ryobi tools and batteries, you can see the expected performance here. If that offset and accuracy will bother you, buy something else. However, they still get the job done. And if you account for the 2 psi offset, it's accurate enough for vehicle tires. The PSI swings more with seasonal temperature changes, and a couple PSI won't throw off your tire pressure monitoring system if you have one, probably. The high volume inflator is also a helpful addition that I use regularly on water sports tubes. I even use the high volume to fill it and then the high pressure to make sure it's really topped off to whip my kids around. Thanks for watching. I'll drop some links in the description and part numbers of the products tested. These were all purchased with my own money. I do earn commissions on any linked purchases which support this channel for new videos. Hope you found this helpful.